ओम सहनाववतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यं करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। ओम शांति शांति शांति। ओम नमो ब्रह्मादिभ्यो ब्रह्म विद्या संप्रदाय कर्तृभ्यो वंश ऋषिभ्यो महद्भ्यो नमो गुरुभ्यः। ओम ओम नमः प्रणवार्थाय शुद्धज्ञानैकमूर्तये निर्मलाय प्रशान्ताय दक्षिणामूर्तये नमः। ओम शंकरं शंकराचार्यं केशवं बादरायणं सूत्रभाष्यकृतौ वन्दे भगवन्तौ पुनः पुनः। ओम श्रुतिस्मृतिपुराणानाम् आलयं करुणालयं नमामि भगवत्पाद शंकरं लोकशंकरम्। ओम परब्रह्मणे श्रुतिमात्रे नमः। समस्त ब्रह्म विद्याचार्येभ्यो ऋषिभ्यो मुनिभ्यो गुरुभ्यो देवताभ्यो नमः। अस्मद्गुरुभ्यो नमः। श्री वेदव्यास वैशंपायनयाज्ञवल्क्य शंकरादि गुरुभ्यो नमः। अस्मद्गुरुभ्यो नमः। ओम समस्त गुरूणां देवतानां परब्रह्मणः श्रुतिमातु कृपया श्रुतियुक्त परब्रह्म अनुभवस्य अस्मिन् क्षणे एव अवाप्त्यर्थं सनातनधर्मस्य वैदिकसंस्कृतेः पुनरुत्थान पुनर्जागरण विश्वव्याप्त्यर्थं विश्वशान्तिकल्याणार्थं समस्त भक्तसाधक सेवा उपासक धर्मरक्षकाणां विघ्ननिवारण शक्तीनाम् अवाप्त्यर्थं कैवल्य उपनिषदः पारायणं तैत्तिरीय उपनिषदः अध्ययनं वयं सर्वे करिष्यामहे। आदौ पारायणं टुडे विल बी chanting कैवल्य उपनिषद. Okay, it has got some 25 mantras. Let us spend it, enjoy. ओम अथ कैवल्य उपनिषदो प्रथमः खण्डः शान्तिमन्त्रः। ओम भद्रं कर्णेभिः शृणुयाम देवाः भद्रं पश्येमाक्षभिर्यजत्राः स्थिरैरङ्गैस्तुष्टुवागुंसस्तनूभिः व्यशेम देवहितं यदायुः। स्वस्ति न इन्द्रो वृद्धश्रवाः स्वस्ति नः पूषा विश्ववेदाः स्वस्ति नस्तार्क्ष्यो अरिष्टनेमिः स्वस्ति नो बृहस्पतिर्दधातु। ओम शान्तिः शान्तिः शान्तिः। ओम अथाश्वलायनो भगवन्तं परमेष्ठिनमुपसमेत्योवाच अतीह भगवन् ब्रह्म विद्यां वरिष्ठां सदा सद्भिः सेव्यमानां निगूढां यया चिरात् सर्वपापं व्यपोह्य परात् परं पुरुषं याति विद्वान् तस्मै सहोवाच पितामहश्च श्रद्धा भक्ति ध्यान योगादवैः न कर्मणा न प्रजया धनेन त्यागेनैके अमृतत्वमानशुः परेण नाकं निहितं गुहायां विभ्राजते यद्यतयो विशन्ति वेदान्तविज्ञानसुनिश्चितार्थाः संन्यासयोगात् यतयः शुद्धसत्त्वाः ते ब्रह्मलोकेषु परान्तकाले परामृतात् परिमुच्यन्ते सर्वे विविक्तदेशे च सुखासनस्थः शुचिः समग्रीव शिरः शरीरः हत्याश्रमस्थः सकलेन्द्रियाणि निरुध्य भक्त्या स्वगुरुं प्रणम्य हृत्पुण्डरीकं विरजं विशुद्धं विचिन्त्य मध्ये विशदं विशोकम् अचिन्त्यमव्यक्तमनन्तरूपं शिवं प्रशान्तम् अमृतं ब्रह्मयोनिं तथादिमध्यान्तविहीनमेकं विभुं चिदानन्दमरूपमद्भुतम् उमासहायं परमेश्वरं प्रभुं त्रिलोचनं नीलकण्ठं प्रशान्तं ध्यात्वा मुनिर्गच्छति भूतयोनिं समस्तसाक्षिं तमसः परस्तात् स ब्रह्मा स शिवस्येन्द्रः सोऽक्षरः परमस्वराट् स एव विष्णुः स प्राणः स कालोऽग्निः स चन्द्रमाः स एव सर्वं यद्भूतं यच्च भव्यं सनातनं ज्ञात्वा तं मृत्युमत्येति नान्यः पन्था विमुक्तये सर्वभूतस्थमात्मानं सर्वभूतानि चात्मनि सम्पश्यन् ब्रह्म परमं याति नान्येन हेतुना आत्मानमरणिं कृत्वा प्रणवं चोत्तरारणिं ज्ञाननिर्मथनाभ्यासात् पाशं दहति पंडितः स एव माया परिमोहितात्मा शरीरमास्थाय करोति सर्वं स्त्रियन्नपानादिविचित्रभोगैः स एव जाग्रत्परितृप्तिमेति स्वप्ने सजीवः सुखदुःखभोक्ता स्वमायया कल्पितजीवलोके सुषुप्तिकाले सकले विलीने तमोभिभूतः सुखरूपमेति पुनश्च जन्मान्तरकर्मयोगात् स एव जीवः स्वपिति प्रबुद्धः पुरत्रये क्रीडति यश्च जीवः ततस्तु जातं सकलं विचित्रम् आधारमानन्दमखण्डबोधं यस्मिन् लयं याति पुरत्रयञ्च एतस्मात् जायते प्राणः मनः सर्वेन्द्रियाणि च खं वायुर्ज्योतिरापः पृथिवी विश्वस्य धारिणी यत्परं ब्रह्म सर्वात्मा विश्वस्यायतनं महतो सूक्ष्मात् सूक्ष्मतरं नित्यं तत्त्वमेव त्वमेव तत् जाग्रत् स्वप्न सुषुप्त्यादि प्रपञ्चं यत् प्रकाशते तद्ब्रह्माहमिति ज्ञात्वा सर्वबन्धैः प्रमुच्यते त्रिषु धामसु यद्भोग्यं भोक्ता भोगश्च यद्भवेत् तेभ्यो विलक्षणः साक्षी चिन्मात्रोऽहं सदाशिवः मय्येव सकलं जातं मयि सर्वं प्रतिष्ठितं मयि सर्वं लयं याति तद्ब्रह्मात्वयमस्म्यहं द्वितीयखण्डः अनोरणीयानमे अहमेव तद्वत् मानहं विश्वमहं विचित्रं पुरातनोऽहं पुरुषोऽहमीशः हिरण्मयोऽहं शिवरूपमस्मि अपाणिपादोऽहमचिन्त्यशक्तिः पश्याम्यचक्षुः शृणोत्म्यकर्णः अहं विजानामि विविक्तरूपः न चास्ति वेत्ता मम चित्सदाहं वेदैरनेकैरहमेव वेद्यः वेदान्तकृद्वेदविदेव चाहं न पुण्यपापे मम नास्ति नाशः न जन्मदेहेन्द्रियबुद्धिरस्ति न भूमिरापो न च वह्निरस्ति न चानिलो मेऽस्ति न चाम्बरं च एवं विदित्वा परमात्मरूपं गुहाशयं निष्कलमद्वितीयं समस्तसाक्षिं सदसद्विहीनं प्रयाति शुद्धं परमात्मरूपं यः शतरुद्रीयमधीते सोऽग्निपूतो भवति स वायुपूतो भवति स आत्मपूतो भवति स सुरापानात् पूतो भवति स ब्रह्महत्यायाः पूतो भवति स सुवर्णस्तेयात् पूतो भवति स कृत्याकृत्यात् पूतो भवति तस्माद् अविमुक्तम् आश्रितः भवति अत्याश्रमे सर्वदा सकृद्वाजपेतु अनेन ज्ञानमाप्नोति संसारार्णवनाशनं तस्मादेवं विदित्वैनं कैवल्यं पदमश्नुते कैवल्यं पदमश्नुते इति ॐ शान्तिः 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 ॐ इत्यथर्ववेदे कैवल्य उपनिषत् समाप्ता ॐ अथ श्रीकृष्णयजुर्वेदान्तर्गत तैत्तिरीय आरण्यकान्तर्गत तैत्तिरीय उपनिषत् ॐ यस्मात् जातं जगत् सर्वं यस्मिन्नेव प्रलीयते येनेदन्धार्यते चैव तस्मै ज्ञानात्मने नमः येरिमे कुरुभिः पूर्वं पदवाक्यप्रमाणतः व्याख्याताः सर्ववेदान्ताः तान् नित्यं प्रणतोऽस्म्यहम् ॐ तैत्तिरेयकसारस्य मयाचार्यप्रसादतः विस्पष्टार्थरुचीणां हि व्याख्येयं सम्प्रणीयते ॐ अथ शान्तिमन्त्रः ॐ शन्नो मित्रः शं वरुणः शन्नो भवत्वर्यमा शन्न इन्द्रो बृहस्पतिः शन्नो विष्णुरुक्रमः नमो ब्रह्मणे नमस्ते वायो त्वमेव प्रत्यक्षं ब्रह्मासि त्वामेव प्रत्यक्षं ब्रह्मावादिशं ऋतमवादिशं सत्यमवादिशं तन्मामावीत तद्वक्तारमावीत आवीन्माम् आवेद्वक्तारम् ॐ शान्तिः 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 ॐ अथ द्वितीया ब्रह्मानन्दवल्ली शान्तिमन्त्रः ॐ सहना भवतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यङ्करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहैः ॐ शान्तिः 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 ॐ अथ प्रथमोऽनुवाकः ॐ ब्रह्मविदाप्नोति परं तदेशाभ्युक्ता सत्यं ज्ञानमनन्तं ब्रह्म यो वेद निहितं गुहायां परमे व्योमन् सोऽश्नुते सर्वान् कामान् सः ब्रह्मणा विपश्चिते ते तस्माद्वा एतस्मादात्मन आकाश सम्भूतः आकाशाद्वायुः वायोरग्निः अग्नेरावः अद्भ्यः पृथिवी पृथिव्या ओषधयः ओषधीभ्योऽन्नम् अन्नात् पुरुषः स वा एष पुरुषोन्नरसमयः तस्येदमेव शिरः अयं दक्षिणः पक्षः अयमुत्तरः पक्षः अयमात्मा इदं पुच्छं प्रतिष्ठा तदप्येष श्लोको भवति ॐ शान्तिः 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 Having saluted Parabrahma, Tattva, Shruti, Mata, entire Brahma Vidya, Acharyas, Rishis, Munis, Gurus, Devatas, also our Taittiriya Upanishad Acharyas of Sri Vedavyasa, Vaishampayana, Yajnavalkya, Adya Shankara, Adi. We are studying Taittiriya Upanishad, the second Brahmananda Valli we started. Here Bhagavan Adi Shankara is taking all pains and efforts and struggles to explain to us the essence of these two mantras, first two lines in the first Anuvakam, which is the essence of entire pursuit of every of the liberation seeking persons. That is the Jnanam about Brahma Tattva. The understanding about Brahma Tattva, the doubtless crystal clear, what do you say, analysis of the Brahma Tattva we are being done here. So, Satyam Jnanam Anantam Brahma is the sentence. Before that, Brahma Vidapnoti Param. Sutra Vakyam, and then immediately in that Sutra Vakya, both we are told about Sadhya and Sadhana. The sadhya is paraprapti. Paraprapti is para is Brahma only, Brahma prapti only. And what is the sadhana? Brahmavid. Brahma Vedanam. Knowing Brahman is the sadhana and obtaining param is the sadhya or the palam. So that should inspire us because the phala is param, ultimate, and therefore the sadhana for it, the Brahma Vidya we must obtain. By that, the greatness of Shruti also told, greatness of Upanishad also told that it doesn't talk or deal with the apara prapti vastus when which gained again they are lost one day. All that we have seen the apara prapti in the Prathama Shiksha Valli, where up to Hiranyagarbha we gave you the phala of the karma and upasana, they are all great praptis but not para. They because अपरा प्राप्ति कर्म बाउंड कर्म से पाने वाले हैं. So they all again because the cause the karma is temporary. The phala also is temporary. Whichever is temporary phala, it cannot be para. It is always apara prapti. So these type of thinkings for you and me as students of Upanishad should make us deeply analytical and understanding with a question, should we obtain the para supreme, having obtained which nothing remains, or should we obtain the lower apara, having obtained which still there is dissatisfaction, there is incompleteness. Unless in these crucial things we become clear and very clear in our understanding and acceptance. See, if we want apara only, then the paraprapti sadhanam Brahma Vidya is not required for you. Don't come to the Upanishad class. Go in this world through one's own karma in this world as well as through pasana. So many praptis of the apara, the lower ones, can be gained. But if at all by God's grace, Guru's grace, in our heart, enough of the apara prapti, I want para. If this happens, this is the basic. This in other language of Yoga Vasishta and all called as Shubhecha. Basic question, if it is not answered, the higher things cannot be heard or obtained. The first question is the whole karma kanda gives you the prapti, but that all is apara. Are you happy, satisfied with apara prapti? Then go into karma and upasana, get the apara, get stuck up there only. Every apara goes away, then while going away, it gives you dukkha and emptiness. Again, you have to start from the scratch. Is it not? Every day you make food, and by evening, all food is consumed. And next day, from the beginning, you have to start. Scratch onwards. I'm telling you the example for the apara prapti. Doesn't mean don't cook and don't eat. So, do you want that? Then, if somebody's mind is little manda, endowed with non-thinking of the because of tamo guna, and also enjoying the temporary glittering maja of the vastus which are obtained through the karma called the apara prapti, the maja rajogun kehte isko. It doesn't click to him that why should I go for the apara when with the same efforts the para can be obtained. But the one whose buddhi is little sharper, dekho, this is what is the thing. The one whose buddhi is sharp, he will choose as para for apara. And the one who chooses para for apara alone is said to have the sharp buddhi. अब कैसे करें? What buddhi we have? We have our own buddhi. Therefore, with our buddhi, we will seek only apara because uska capacity utna hi hai. That is why we have to always be in touch with the elders, the experienced people. Who are they? None other than our own rishis, munis, and acharyas, and our own gurus. So they are in the experience of para. Therefore, they were also apara earlier. They know it. So they comparatively tell us that this is apara, this is para. Para is better than apara. We know apara, but we don't know para. That is why the shraddha in them alone makes us start thinking. Finally, it is I who have to think. Finally, it is I who have to decide should I go for para and apara. Even after deciding, finally, it is me only who have to go for whatever I have chosen. But the Guru Shastra helps us by telling the discrimination between the aparaprapti and paraprapti. So, the Katha Upanishad Visa ki Shreyascha Preyascha Manushya Metaha. So, there the Shreya is paraprapti, then the Prey is the aparaprapti. See how important is this word paraprapti. And by that, those who are happy, satisfied with apara, they are all rejected. You are not allowed to enter here, nor you will come. Even if you come, you won't stay longer. Why people don't come for Brahma Vidya is they don't know that Brahma Vidya gives param and they don't want the param and they only know the aparam. They are contented and satisfied with the aparam. Therefore, the aparam comes to them through the upasana and karma kanda of all sorts. They are in that one. You and I have to think for ourselves. I have to think for myself. You have to think for yourself. Should we be satisfied with the temporary results of human life sukhas, even the sukhas of the Swarga Adi, through yajna and karma? Remember, any karma starts in time, ends in time, and with limited efforts, limited resources. Its result cannot be the permanent. Endless नहीं होता हो, infinite भी नहीं होता हो. Then when it is not finite, endful, not infinite, limitful, one day it will be over. When it's over, back to square one. Now only the apara is there. Okay. Which is the phala of the karma upasana. There's no other alternative. Then you can go for only it. Because wahi hai. But when you have a better thing than that. That is para is there, para prapti is there, para prapti is sadhyam. It is possible. Listen carefully. When the option is there, that choosing the better option is the purpose for which you and I are given the intellect. बुद्धि का काम क्या है? दोनों का विचार करके दोनों में से कौन सा श्रेष्ठ है उसको स्वीकार नहीं किया तो we are not using the buddhi. There is no use of buddhi given to us, but we are given. And when we are using that buddhi in choosing the better things in the world, many a time we do that. Yeah, buddy, I want this, not the other one, etc. Now, in that case, why not we use that buddhi to go even beyond the world and worldly pursuits of aparaprapti to the spiritual and spiritual pursuit of paraprapti? This decision to come to the paraprapti as lakshya alone takes many lives. For that, every life we have to listen about the presence of the para and observe the apara which we are getting, which is giving us the dissatisfaction. When the churning between these two goes on, one side we are putting efforts to get the apara, other side we are listening from the Guru through Upanishad and Shastra about the para and its glory. When the churning between these two go for many lives, then slowly the thought starts. Earlier, never ever the desire for paraprapti, only the para. Slowly the thought starts, why not this? Why not this? Why not this? As this, why not this? Why not this goes on growing, slowly it comes to the stage of this. Then comes this only. Then it comes, this alone I want to get or gain. This is the state in which in bhakti the Prahladas are there and in Jnanam the Nachiketas are there. And in their life, what do we see? This only. Everything is apara prapti, whatever the Yamadharmaraja has put in front. This fellow has so mature, maybe in so many earlier lives of going through apara and studying the para from the Guru, that in this life he has matured in his intellect to such a level that even freely everything is given of the apara. He has a dareness or the intellectual capacity and courage to discard all that. And even though Yamadharmara says only Devatas will know it, you are a Manusha, it is tough for you. Yet, if that person has chosen only the Shreya Prapti or Paraprapti or Shreya Para giving Brahma Jnanam from Yamaraj, how much his intellect is matured only to seek Para. This should be our goal. From now onwards, through all our studies, every day, whatever we are doing, the aim of all of that should be is what? Hey Bhagwan, the Shubhecha or the Paraprapti should grow in us day by day to such a big configuration of the fire type that in that fire of wanting only the para, all the desire and pursuit for apara should be totally burnt away. That I am seeking only this. To such people only, the Vedanta is useful, meaningful, tasty, and they enjoyingly pursue it. जिनके मन and then once you obtain for para option, then apara you have to reject because they can't go together. Once you choose for the para brahma, para vidya, para prapti, apara cannot be. It has to be completely given up because they can't go together. But if we don't have this conviction for it, we study the Paravidya, Brahmavidya, Atmavidya, Upanishad Vidya, but our efforts are not sufficiently strong to reach the Paraprapti because all our efforts, abilities are divert towards to the worldly thing only because in our minds still Aparaprapti Kamanas are there. See, this one word Param, Apnoti, if we can analyze with little calm, quiet, patient mind, how many important things come to us. And there's nothing wrong, but at the same time, it is not correct also. What is it? We are not seeking the para, but we are seeking only the apara. Why it is not wrong? As long as you are doing honestly, you can get apara. You can work and get it. But again, what's not the correctness? When the option of paraprapti is there, not choosing it, though being a human, having the intellect, is there, we go wrong. And that's how, and heart in heart, apara we are seeking, apara we are getting, but apara it being, it is perishing, then again we are suffering. Please remember, whatever today I have desires, not even one of those desires were never not fulfilled. Every desire I have now was fulfilled already in the past. But then those desire fulfillments, those joys being not permanent, and I want the permanent thing, therefore again and again I am desiring. So the mistake is what? desiring permanent happiness from the temporary things. You can intellectually, I can pierce through this moha. This is called as moha. Same desires again and again we are trying to fulfill means what? So the desire what we are getting called as happiness, we are seeking that happiness permanently. Then the moha is what? How can the permanent happiness which is sought by our heart can be gained by the temporary result gained through temporary works? Here is where this intellectual thinking guided by the Guru becomes the blow of the maze in our intellect's delusion. Only then we just reconcile ourselves. If I want permanent happiness, it should come from only the permanent thing, not from the temporary. Then only we go. Immediately, every jagat is mithya, samajh mein aata hai. We drop that. Then in the search of the permanent, for the permanent happiness, we go to the Guru who is already in that bliss. And Guru also doesn't give us the permanent happiness from somewhere. अपने जेब से निकाल के और कहीं से नहीं देते. He knows that it is a self of every one of us only. Therefore, he just reveals to us what we are seeking is we are already, and what we are seeking is we are already. Yet we don't know that. That is called as avidya. And what you are seeking is you only, my dear friend. This is what the Guru tells. That is called as vidya. Therefore, vidya removes the avidya, and avidya janita jiva bhava se lekar all the pursuits of the apara are dissolved or disappearing or removed. Then ever existing atma anubhuti, which is permanent, infinite, and blissful, that comes to expression. So that is how darshana apekshatvat brahmanaha prapti apraptyoho. That's all we have to think only this subject throughout the day for some years. Then many important aspects of this Brahma Tattva, the Vedanta, they start becoming clearly understandable to us. After that only our real sadhana of Vyatireka of everything other than Brahman and Anvaya of the Brahman which we can do, which is called as Nididhyasana. When that Nididhyasana is done, for how much long time? For sufficient period, which cannot be said as 1 year, 2 years, 1 life, 2 lives. It may take many lives also, sufficient time. Then in that Nididhyasana Anvaya Vyatireka, the Anatma is rejected, the Atma Anubhuti starts coming. So these are all the introduction to explain the word, the Param. Choose, you want Param or Aparam. Everything other than Brahman is Aparam, and that is perishable. And the Param is only Brahman. Only through Brahma Vidya Param Apnoti. That is the meaning of this first sentence. देखो, sentence so simple है Brahmida Apnoti Param, but each word if you analyze and analyze our own experiences, and who is telling it? Shruti Mata. Shruti Mata's uddesha is only to give us Utkrishta Shreyas, Parama Shreyas only. If she is saying this sentence, there must be many things for us to analyze and understand. In this way, when we approach Shruti Mata and really start using our intellect for contemplation, vicharana, inquiry, all these truths are revealed. So, final thought is those who want the Param, for them, Brahma Vidya is the way and the only way. And those who don't want the Param, Brahma Vidya will not help them, because Brahma Vidya's job, as much as it is to give the Param, and it never gives Aparam. Just like the the karmas of the worldliness, as much they give the apara result, so much they won't give the param. So too, the Brahman will give param only, not aparam. So if you want param, nothing other than Brahma Vidya helps you. And for the aparam, Brahma Vidya will not help you. Only you have to go to the upasana and karma kanda. Every upasana, every karma kanda is something other. Kuch karo to kuch milta hi rehta hai, but everything is apara. So then, once it is convinced, I want Brahman, then he should be convinced that obtains only through the Vidya of the Brahma. Therefore, our two things should never be forgotten throughout life. The sadhya is paraprapti and the sadhana is Brahma Vidya. What is sadhya? Paraprapti. What is sadhana? Brahma Vidya. So what is the sadhya vastu? Paraprapti. And para being Brahman alone, therefore Brahma itself is sadhya and Brahma Vedanam, Brahma Vidya is the sadhana. सो ब्रह्म विद्या रूपी साधना के द्वारा ब्रह्म रूपी फल का प्राप्ति वेदांत का श्रुति का परम अर्थ चरम अर्थ है. Should go it deeply into our heart. That's why the mood of studying Upanishads, mood of Vedanta, a mood of being regular in the classes, mood of being a spiritual sadhaka. If you don't create, that aura, let us talk of, then these things just like a time pass only once in a while we listen, they don't mean at all anything to us. So slowly come to this mood, this guru. Most of the thing is worldliness. Then little of the Brahma Vidya once in a while we listen, it will have no effect at all in our life or sadhana. Please, it's not an entertainment. It is not a time pass. It is a highest occupation to reach to the highest. In that case, that much of importance, priority you have to give by heart, from the heart. Generally, what happens to all our sincerity of studying to the classes, regularity of coming, but the personality is not molded for this. And therefore, the required amount of efforts to make everything clearly understood, to do everything, to reach the ultimate, those efforts are not inspiredly coming out of us. We are only waiting for a punya phala so that some sadhana can happen. We are not doing sadhana in spite of any odds, every odds. Sadhana is not done when everything is convenient. Sadhana means everything is non-convenient, yet we are doing only that. That comes when our personality becomes of this Brahma Vidya, Tattva Vidya, Atma Vidya, Moksha Vidya, Upanishad Vidya. Only this we become like that. So too in every field, a person will have to act in movie. His personality should be only that. He cannot do the 10 things. So to a sports person, as long as in the sports field, he should fully focus on that only. His fitness, his preparations, his improvements, his updating. और उसी में करते रहेगा वो. और रिटायर हो गया तो then he can take up business or politics. Everything can be done. But as long as he is in that, he has to be only that. If he does 2-3 things, then he will be failure that. Like many of the teams, when you go for the foreign tours, more than interest on the cricket play, they are interested in the picnics and enjoyment, entertainment, and that series they fully lose and come. मजा करने जाते हैं. देखो, these are all everywhere. So here also we have to again and again think to ourselves, how much I am pursuing this Brahma Vidya. Seriously or sincerely? If not, what are the reasons? Then, how to eliminate that reasons? What exactly to be molded, expected from me? So, feel that we are the Brahma Vidya seekers. Through the Brahma Vidya, Atma Vidya, Vedanta Vidya, Tattva Vidya, Upanishad Vidya, we want to obtain para. Let this thought go on getting strength within again and again, again. In the heat of that only, all the apara giving things we start giving up. Then the paraprapti ke liye kya karna hai, we start becoming serious to know it. The people, the sun is right from the beginning, but nobody's attention was on the sun till all other resources of energy were getting exhausted. है कि नहीं? था पेट्रोल खत्म हो गया, सब खत्म हो रहे. अब then what is the alternative of the energy? When they looked, then only they could find that sun is their continuous energy. Now everybody is behind solar. Within 10-20 years, whole world will run only on solar energy. All electricity, सारे पूरे उससे replace हो जाएंगे. Because it is continuous and eternal. In the same way, in our life also, till our interest for param is strengthened, and then only the paraprapti sadhanas of Brahma Vidya pursuits become all in us, nothing other than it. And remember, whoever the persons, saints realize the self, what has they done in some few lives before the realization happened? Exclusively they were only for that, and are discarding everything else. And same for everyone. A Raja becomes Rajarshi when he gave Raja and went and did only that. A Brahmana became Brahmarshi when this Brahmanatva work of all the upasana of Arohita we left and gone. A Vaishya also become Jnani only he keeps up all that and does it. In everybody's case, I'm just giving the Varna Rupa example only to say that either to me or to you, like for me, Brahma Vidya Prapti will happen to me only when I stop all this lecture baji and go for it. And the one who realizes it after that, he has no other thing to do, therefore, he will do only this one. So, exclusive application of all our personality for that is mandatory. Keep that in mind. If you are not able to do it in this life, never mind. Inability to do is different from the desire to do and achieve. Many of us are not able, but that inability, how can it remove the desire? Because desire only gives the ability. That's why every sincere seeker says, "Oh Bhagavan, for whatever reason in this life I am not able to do, but that alone I want to do and achieve. Therefore, at least subsequently give me the abilities to do." इस तरह से एक समझदार व्यक्ति प्रे करता है, प्रयत्न भी करता है. Now we have completed the Brahmavid Apnoti Param with the Bhashya exhaustively. This is called Sutra Bhuta Vakyam. So, as a Brahmavid Apnoti Param is said, Brahma Lakshanas are not told there. And also, along with Lakshanas being taught, that Brahma, if it has to give the Para, it has to be found as our own Antaratma Rupena, Pratyagatma Rupena. And if it has to give us a Paraprapti, that Pratyagatma should be the Sarvatma. So these are three steps. Brahma Lakshana, that Lakshana Yukta Brahma is discovered as Atma, and this Atma is discovered as Sarvatma. Now this Lakshana Yukta Atma Sarvatma Brahma should be ensured in seeing that, in that there are no samsara dharma. Then only there are no limitations. Then only it's called a Paraprapti. Now, these are all the technically Vedantic way of saying the things. Unless we tune to them, we don't get the understanding. Unless the understanding comes, one side the joy of understanding, other side the inspiration to do sadhana, they are not born in us. See the four things? Brahma Lakshanas have to be told. That Lakshana Yukta Brahma has to be found as Atma, Pratyagatma. Not the Panchakosha Atma, that is Jiva, beyond that Pratyagatma. This Pratyagatma, if it has to be the Param, it has to be the Sarvatma. Okay, then only Param. But Paraprapti should not have any samsara further. Therefore, Sarva Samsara Varjitam. संसार का कारण रूपी कोई भी अविद्या, अस्मिता, राग, द्वेष, अभिनिवेश, the panchakleshas in the yoga marga language, or the avidya, kama karma रूपी hridaya granthi, which you and I as a jiva possess and suffer as a samsari, that should not be traced as found also there. Just to ensure it is already there. When you become Pratyagatma and Sarvatma Brahma discovered, in that naturally there is no samsara dharma, but it has to be just ensured. That is what ultimate thing reached. उसके बाद कुछ पहुंचने का नहीं होता है. सो ब्रह्मविदः यत् परप्राप्ति लक्षणम् उक्तं तत् सर्वात्म भावः सर्व संसार धर्म अतीत ब्रह्म स्वरूपमेव न अन्यत्. So that Brahma is Sarva Samsara Atita Brahma. Whatever we see is also is Brahman. But it is Samsara Brahma because of the Avidya. Through Vidya, when the Brahma Prapti is obtained, then there is that Brahmanubhuti where there is no samsara of struggle, samsara of worry, miserable, failure, frustration. None of these things are there in it anymore. So having said this one now, to tell us the Lakshanas of the Brahman, for us to contemplate, meditate and realize, the Rucha is quoted, a Rukveda mantra is said. Tat Esha Abhyukta. That means to tell, to reveal to us that Lakshana of the Brahma, Esha means by this Rukveda mantra, Abhyukta. So Tat Brahma Esha Rucha Abhyukta. That Brahma Vastu by this Rukveda mantra is being very specially, beautifully explained. Abhitaha Ukta. Ukta is said, Abhitaha Ukta means completely said. Nothing less is said and nothing more remains to be said. That's the meaning of Abhiyukta. मतलब पूरी तरह से सोच विचार करके जांच पड़ताल करके अनुभव पाने के बाद ही अपने ऋषि मुनियों ने ये वाला लक्षण ब्रह्म के लिए दिया. And these lakshanas, like we were seeing in other texts also, Yoga Darshanam here and all, any vastu, when it is to be indicated, it should be indicated with the lakshanas. And those lakshanas should not have all these three dosha. What are the three dosha? Avyapti dosha, then ativyapti dosha, then asambhavana dosha. Avyapti dosha, ativyapti dosha. Avyapti means what? All the lakshanas are not sufficient in explaining it. Ativyapti dosha is what? These lakshanas are percolating in some other object also. Then asambhavana dosha is what? Lakshanas are understood, but the corresponding object is not there. So the object should be there, and the lakshanas should be fully fit in that, not in anything else. And no other lakshanas should be required for it. It should be complete self-sufficient. That's called Lakshanavarti. Now, in this discussion between Purvapakshi and Siddhanti, this is what is being ensured. And all this is intellectual knowledge, which is very, very essential in the beginning. Then only after thoroughly getting the understanding of Brahman to be this, because of all these logics, that we can really, on the Dhyana Avastha, we can go for deeper meditation. But much before that, unless we reject the Rajoguna and Tamoguna of our Sharira, Mana, Buddhi through variety of Karma Yogas, Upasanas, Ashtanga Yogas for many, many lives, this sharpness, this subtlety required for following the knowledge of Brahma Vidya on the seat of meditation to discover that the Brahma Param is not possible. That's why Dushyate tu Agraya Buddhya, Sukshmaya Buddhya. Why is it said Viveka, Vairagya, Shabadamadi in the Vedanta Bhasha? Why is it said Yama, Niyama, Asana, Pranayama, Ityadi in the Yoga Bhasha? If they are not required, without that somebody can straight away meditate on Brahman and can realize why these are mentioned in the beginning. And is there anybody in the universe without its basic qualification has discovered the Brahman? We have to mind and we will know it. यार ब्रह्म विद्या समझ ही नहीं आ रहा है हमको इतना कोशिश कर रहा हूं देन पता चलता है बिकॉज विवेक वैराग्य हुआ ही नहीं तुम्हारा then slowly through this sadhana chatushtaya sampada then siddhanta jnana we gain and through the dhyana adi that siddhanta we convert into experience. So brahma tadeshabhyukta tad brahma esha rucha abhyukta, that Brahman is being explained fully by this Rigveda mantra. And what is that? Only this much. So don't do any number of Upanishads anywhere. This is what finally told about Brahman. This is what finally to be achieved. After which we can say we got the Brahma Prapti, Paraprapti, Moksha, no more samsara. Satyam Jnanam Anantam Brahma. That's it. Satyam Jnanam Anantam Brahma is to be realized as my own self. I am that Brahman which is Satyam Jnana Anantam. And this Brahman, Satyam Jnana Anantam Brahman alone is there as substratum in every name and form. Later on, other than the Satyam Jnana Anantam Brahma, there is nothing. If it already there, it is only projection, not real. सर्वम ब्रह्ममयम रे रे, इसका अर्थ ये होता है ना, सर्वम ही एतद् ब्रह्म अयम आत्मा ब्रह्म. Is it not? Sarvam etad Brahma, I am Atma Brahma. Is it not? The Manduka Upanishad, Mula Mantras, all of them, everywhere it is so, in every of the Upanishads. Now, we started studying day before yesterday, slowly, steadily, about this with the help of Bhashyam. What are these three Satyam, Jnanam, Anantam, Brahma? They are words. They are all in what? Samanadikaranam and same vibhakti. If same vibhakti, Samanadikarana, so many are said, there must be a sambandha between them. What is the sambandha? Sambandha should be the Visheshana Vishesha Sambandha. The described and description. The explained explanation. The adjective, the object to which the adjective belongs to. The Lakshana, the Lakshita. This is how the analysis Bhagavan gave. So because four words are in a same Samanadikarana, probability is what? Any three can be the Lakshana, one can be the Lakshita. Then which is the adjective and which are the qualities? How to decide? The answer is because the context is of Brahman, the Brahman must be the Lakshita, the other three must be Lakshana. See, this is how the intellect is made full and satisfied with the understanding. That's how the understanding of the intellect is given and it is satisfied. Now it is satisfied. See how many satisfactions came now. Paraprapti alone is the thing we have to seek, and that para obtained only through Brahma Vidya. Every other thing other than Vidya called Upasana and Karma definitely give result, but they are not para. See, when these understandings are becoming deeper in our intellect, are you not getting a good satisfaction? Achhi baat hai Baba, very good. Then truly when we decide only for Paraprapti and that's possible only through Brahma Vidya, then again that is a great satisfaction. Like coming to the class, it's a satisfaction. Ability to listen or trying to listen, it's a satisfaction. Ability and effort to understand, this is a satisfaction. When you really understand, that is a trupti. ये सारे ज्ञान में मिलने वाले तृप्तियां much before the ultimate trupti comes. So here the trupti is what? Brahma is lakshita and these three are lakshana. So Brahman is the vastu, these three are the their visheshanas. So, Vedyatvat Brahmanaha, Brahmaha Visheshyaha, and these three are the Visheshanas. See the relation? What is Visheshana? Brahma. Visheshya. What are the Visheshanas? Satyam, Jnanam, Anantam. So, why did these three Satyam, Jnanam, Anantam, Brahma, Visheshanas? The Brahma is told the Visheshya. विशेषण विशेष संबंध हो गया पर ऐसे विशेषण युक्त विशेष ब्रह्म का क्यों सुनना है बिकॉज वेद्यत्वात् बिकॉज दैट इज द वेद्य वस्तु वाई वेद्य वस्तु बिकॉज ओनली व्हेन द ब्रह्म विद्या और ब्रह्म वेदनम हैपेंस पर प्राप्ति हैपेंस दिस इज अवर सूत्र वाक्यम ब्रह्म विदेव आपनोति परम नो therefore brahma vedanam is the means sadhyam sadhanam for the prapti of the param. Therefore, again here also, we have to be deeply pausing and understanding and we have to get that satisfaction. What is that? Ki therefore, these three Lakshana Yukta Brahma Vedanam alone is Brahma Vedanam. Vedanam is knowing. And that these three Lakshana Yukta Brahma Vedanam alone is the one which is the cause for or the thing which leads to the Paraprapti Moksha. Therefore, first sentence is clear. Knowing Brahman gives supreme. Second sentence is what? Knowing Brahman with these three Lakshanas gives me supreme. Therefore, I have to pursue to discover that Brahman which is of these three Lakshanas. As we said yesterday, if we are very careful, though we are interested in the person, but we search for the Lakshanas that are told for the person, then through the Lakshana, obviously you reach the Lakshita. See the way of inquiry. This is called as subtlety. अब किसी बंदे को या वस्तु को या घर को ढूंढना है तो पहले तो आपको लक्षण होना चाहिए. Some lakshana it is the red house or green house or the house number is 322 or there is a coconut tree. कुछ भी कहो. This is next to that school or the hospital or this old age हो. कुछ भी कहो. लक्षण ही है सारे ना. बिना लक्षण का लक्षित वस्तु को कैसे आप जानने वाले वस्तु को कैसे देख सकते हो. Therefore, we have to be very keen in this understanding. Not only say that I want to know Brahman, I want to know Brahman. That is a good sentence, but vague sentence. Always you have to question which Brahman, what is that way, what is the lakshana of that Brahman, we must know. In discussion also, when somebody tells something, we don't get satisfied with that, we ask them for the description. Only the description is said, then we understand and we accept all that. So here also, what we have to very clear is Satyam, Jnanam, Anantam. This Lakshana Yukta Brahman alone is the goal of ours. When we pursue and find, then we find the Paraprapti. We get the moksha, ultimate result. There is nothing higher than that. Everything is lower than that. Now, the clarity given is what? Next clarity is what? Lakshana not only takes us to that Lakshita Vastu, but Lakshana also separates it from other Lakshita Vastus. The Lakshita Vastu called as Visheshya. So this particular object I want. Therefore, I must be told about that particular object's qualities. So those qualities become Visheshana, that Vastu becomes Visheshya. So the obtainable Vastu, which is now become Visheshya, separating it from other Visheshya is possible only through the Visheshana. Therefore, there are two Visheshya Vastus in this world. Okay. One is Brahma, second is the entire world, wholesale or retail. Okay. Now, the Vishesha, if it is Brahmana, his Lakshanas are Satyam Jnanam Anantam. And anything other than the Brahman, the other Vishesha, the Jagat, all its Lakshanas are Asatyam, Ajnanam and Santam only. Vishesha Brahma with these Lakshanas. So, Visheshanas not only specifically tell that thing, but also it separates it from all other things. And this is what is the sentence said we saw yesterday. Evam hi tad jnatam bhavati yadi anyebhyah nirdharitam. Nirdharitam means separated. No, still we are confused about ye wo hai ki wo ye hai. Like you went to go somebody's house. So दो घर है, बाहर खड़े हो, ये हो सकता है, वो हो सकता है, वो है ये. If the nirdharana is not done, do you enter? You will not enter unless we do nirdharana. Even if you enter, it's a failure. Because if you go to a wrong house, then you have to come out. Even if you go to right house, you will stay there only when it is nirdharita. Therefore, to enter into that, the nirdharana is required. And nirdharana is done now lakshanas. Therefore, लक्षणों का निर्धारण होने से ही प्रवेश होता है. इंश्योर करते हैं फोन पे कि वही घर है क्या, नंबर इतना दिख रहा है, पेड़ वगैरह है, यस सर, वी एंटर्ड. So we have reached our destination. So what is destination? Brahman. And how the Brahman has to be reached? Through his Lakshanas. What are the Lakshanas? Satyam Jnana Anantam. So only through Satya Jnana Brahma Ananta Lakshanas, the Nirdharita Vastu, Vishesha Vastu, Brahman is separated from the all other things. So evam hi tad jnatam bhavati yadi anyebhyah nirdharitam. Example of Loke Neelamahata Sugandhi Utpalam. How important is this thinking? As I was saying, these thinkings make our intellect single pointed, make our intellect subtle, make our intellect pure because we are searching the true self or the truth or the Brahman. That's a fulfillment of intellect, in fact. Real satisfaction, even to the intellect, comes only when it is able to apprehend Brahman with its gunas undoubtedly. Even though it's not an experience or liberation, but that is the job. If intellect can achieve, it is also very satisfied. Whose intellect? Our own. Clear? Now, after that, the question was asked, ki the Lakshanas are not required. Visheshanas. Why? When you said ki Visheshanas make the Vastu Nirdharita by separating it from the other Visheshya. You know? That was so good explanation by you, O Siddhanti. But my question is, there's a fallacy in that. What's that? If there are many Visheshya Vastus, each one are having their own Visheshana, then among them one particular Visheshya we want, then the Visheshanas are valid there. So Raktam and Neelam, both are Utpalam. We win Neela Utpalam. Therefore, we will tell the Neela Utpala that the Neela separates it from the Rakta. So दो वस्तु होना है, दोनों का अलग विशेषण होना है, उसमें से हमको एक चाहिए और वो भी समान जातीय. Then the blueness is valid. अदर जातीय भी नहीं काम करेगा and the विशेषणास नहीं है तो भी काम नहीं करेगा. There is no vastu without विशेषण. But the example of Surya he has given, which Surya you don't say because there are no two Suryas. Surya कहते हो गया. Black Surya, yellow Surya, these words are not used. In the same way, Sarvatmakam, Sarvavyapakam Brahma. It is one without second. Do you agree or not, Siddhanti Garu? Yes, we agree. In that case, what is the need of the Visheshanas? That was a very important question. You know, these question answers alone sharpen our intellect. more than trying to understand the literal meaning of the mantra. These type of the Purva Pakshis Prashnas and Uttara by the Siddhanti are the ones which really make us sharp in our thinking, really make us matured in our understanding. More important are these things. And accordingly, when you saw yesterday exhaustively how wonderfully the Siddhanti gave the answer. What is that? The adjectives are of two types. Very important. Throughout life, never forget. The two types of adjectives, one are the descriptive adjectives, second are the indicative adjectives. Therefore, are the Satyam Jnanam Anantam doing the Varnana of the Brahman or are they the Lakshana of the Brahman? It is not Varnana, it's not a description. Descriptive definition nahi hota Brahma ka. This is Lakshana. Okay. Then what is the difference between Visheshana, Visheshya, Lakshana, Lakshita? This is where we were yesterday up to. So in the Visheshana, Visheshya, what it does, the Visheshana separates it from only the Sajatiya Vastu. And those Visheshanas are subject to change. क्लियर? सजातीय वस्तु से वो अलग करता है और विशेषण बदल सकते हैं. कभी कभी विशेष्य ही बदलता है तो विशेषण बदलेगा. Like same example of Neelam, Utpalam and Sugandhi. Now the Utpalam is the Visheshya. Neelam, Mahat and Sugandhi are its Visheshanas. Now of that Visheshya Vastu, are these Visheshanas are always there? Is the Neela color goes on continuous? By the evening gets fades away. And that Mahat, will it be continuous? अरे धीरे धीरे perish ही हो रहा है. Where is the Mahatness in it? And Sugandhi? Not only Sugandhi goes away, if you allow it to stay there, it becomes Durgandhi only. And when you add water, it stinks only, it is. So, the Visheshana separate the Visheshya from other Visheshyas of similar kind. And these Visheshanas are perishable. But what the Lakshanas do, the Lakshanas are permanent with that Lakshita. And that Lakshanas doesn't differentiate that Lakshya Vastu. Means what? The Lakshana says the uniqueness of that thing. Those Lakshanas don't enter into other things. And other than these Lakshanas, there is nothing into this coming. That is called as Lakshana. So, Satyam, Jnanam, Anantam, Brahma are the Lakshanas of exclusively Brahman. Everything other than Brahman is Asatyam, Ajnanam and Anantam. And if it has to be sweet, it is sugar. If it has to be sugar, it is sweet. So, the Lakshita Vastu is sugar and the Lakshanas is sweetness. And sweetness of the sugar never goes away. It always, if it is sugar, it has to be sweet. It cannot be bitter sugar. And if it is sweet, it cannot be Karela. Is it not? The object or the Vishesha Karela cannot have the Visheshana of the sweetness. It can have the, means the Lakshana, sorry. The Lakshana Lakshitaka Sambandha. Therefore, what we have to catch at this level is what? The three words of Satyam, Jnanam, Anantam are the natural qualities of Brahman, not they are describing. What happens, as in the Neela Utpala Mahat example, if the Brahman is with the Visheshanas, the Visheshanas will change or perish. Therefore, the Brahman becomes changeable or perishable. We don't want that changeable, perishable. We want the Param. So, Param chahiye, so changeless, imperishable only we need. So, and at the intellectual level, we have to be careful about these words and their relation with the Brahman. They are not Visheshanas, they are the Lakshanas. Therefore, the words are used for Brahman, which have the meaning. Those meanings are the adjectives, explanations, yet they are not adjectives. They are the only Lakshanas. Okay, and this is for the explanation sake. And again, these words are used to separate it from everything else. In our vision today, because we are today seeing everything other than Brahman. But through the pursuit of this, when you reach to Anubhuti, remember, there is no world at all other than it. And what was the world? Asatyam, Ajnanam and Anantam. When the Asatyam, Ajnanam, Anantam world is not there. In contrast to that world and its description of Asatyam, Ajnanam, Anantam, we called Brahman as Satyam, Jnanam, Anantam. अब वो नहीं है तो ब्रह्म का ये शब्द भी नहीं रहेंगे. देन क्या रहेगा? शब्द की जरूरत नहीं रहने वाला ब्रह्म अनुभूति. Therefore, with all the discussion, we were highly matured in our intellect. We come to one great point, which is very tough to catch, I know, but still we share. What is that? Brahma is Anubhavam. It is not any vastu which can be explained in any adjectives or even lakshanas. But the lakshanas are told to separate it from other things because right now we are in the experience of the other things. And it should not be visheshanas, descriptive definition. No, it's an indication. Because Brahman cannot be described. Because the descriptions are again in the words and they have the meaning. So as if an object is there, its gunas are there. Guna guni dvaita sambandha ho jata hai. We want to reach to Advaita Brahma. Therefore, their guna guni sambandha also is not accepted. Therefore, then but without guna, you can't find it. Therefore, gunas of Brahman only told, but they are not gunas like the other gunas. They are lakshanas. And those lakshanas, be attentive, through which when we came to the Anubhava of Brahman, even these lakshanas are not told. Because if you have to say Brahman is Satyam, why have to say? You have to say Brahman is Satyam only when there is something other which is Asatyam. लेकिन बंदा अच्छा है बोलेगा तो मतलब दूसरा बंदा है वो बुरा है. और दूसरा बंदा ही नहीं है और ये एक ही है. अब उसको अच्छा बुरा बोलने की जरूरत नहीं, बंदा है बस. Is it not? So too, if Brahman is said to be Jnanam, there be something else is there Ajnanam. Brahman is Anantam, word use means what? There is something Anantam, Asantam. Therefore, the Satyam, Jnanam, Anantam, Brahma are the vehicles to take us to Brahman. Once you travel in the vehicle to the destination, you don't sit only in the vehicle. उतर जाते हम. आगे नहीं. Same way, once you experience Brahman, even these words also are not required. But now these words are required. These words alone are required. And through these words alone we reach. There is no other way. That's why Shruti Mata gave this definition to Brahman who cannot be defined. Explained Brahman through these words who cannot be explained. Described Brahman who cannot be described. Qualities of Brahman told in this way who is non-qualified. This thing we have to be very clear about it. Anubhava means Brahman. Brahman is only Anubhava. That Anubhava, when somebody asks, then we try to explain. And that also you can't explain. Ha, oo, that is only. Then we are forced to ask, but हमारे भाषा में तो बताओ. Then ahamannam, ahamannadaha. That is also सामगान में. इधर कहते हैं सत्यम ज्ञानम अनंतम. What is done when we ask a Brahmagnani how the Anubhuti is like? He will not give answer directly. He will ask us, tell me what are your Anubhutis. Then we tell our Anubhuti. Then he will tell the opposite gunas of that. Like Nirguna, Nischala, Nitya, Nirvikari, Nirakara, Akhanda. All of them are only denials. There is no positive thing told anything there. Brahma Akhanda bola. Like Khanda you can understand. How can you understand Akhanda? Brahma Ananta bola. Ananta is abstract word. Santam you know it, begins and ends. Anantam is not abstract, it is an abstract. But that's the only way the opposite guna yukta, the world is removed. Like one kata removed from the other kata. Both are thrown. Our job is to remove the obstacle. With that sadhana, thereafter, ever existing Brahman, we get the Anubhuti. Even Brahman word also is a description only. Already we say Vruddhatamatvad, Brahmanatvad, Bruhattatvad. But other than words, there's no way to be spoken by the guru to disciple. Disciple has no way than the words to understand. अब देखो, Brahman cannot be described. Without description, we can't understand. Unless we understand, we don't pursue. Unless we pursue, we don't get. Unless we get it, we don't get param. Without getting param, we cannot avoid the samsara. So, is it clear? Is Satyam Jnanam Anantam are the descriptive destinations or indicative? It is Lakshana. Satyam Jnanam Anantam. Okay. Is Brahma Lakshana. Means what? Even Lakshana Lakshita difference भी नहीं है वहाँ, वो वही है. Like, please remember the example of sugar is sweet. Sugar's Lakshana is sweetness. It is only for explanation. Become little subtle here. It's only for explanation we say the sugar is sweet. That also because the other tastes are there of non-sweetness, bitterness. But as regard the sweetness and sugar, these two are concerned. Where we call the sugar as the Lakshita and sweetness as Lakshana. Are they two things actually? What type of explanation that sugar is sweet? If you can understand this, what is the explanation of Satyam Jnananantam is Brahma? You will be able to comprehend intellectually. Sugar is sweet is not in the sense that there is sugar separate and sweet separate. Be careful about it. What is the meaning of separation? There can be a sugar without sweetness, and there may be a sweet thing which may not be called as sugar. It is impossible. शुगर मतलब मीठा होना चाहिए, मीठा है मतलब चीनी होना चाहिए. इन द सेम वे ब्रह्मन मतलब सच्चिदानंद है, सच्चिदानंद मतलब और सत्यम ज्ञानानंद मतलब ही ब्रह्म है. दैट वे इट इज अ लक्षण. That way it is a lakshana. You have to become little subtle to catch it. And the only higher way to tell that is what? Satyam alone is Brahman. Jnanam alone is Brahman. Anantam alone is Brahman. That's what we are going to study in the entire explanation in the next 3-4 pages of the description by Guru, the Bhagavan Adi Shankara, the Siddhanti, when the Purva Pakshi keeps on asking questions. It's a very subtle and very good exercise of the intellect. इसको ना समझ में आने तक जरूरत पड़ी तो 50 बार भी करो, it is worthy. Because in that only all our clear understanding about the sadhya sadhana we can gain. Later on क्या है पंचकोश पंचमहाभूत वो सब आसान हो जाएगा, meaningful, powerful only when we understand this thoroughly. What will be told later on is this Brahman of Satyam Jnanam, which is our essential nature, discovering which we become Param, we obtain Param, is unnecessarily covered by the Panchakoshas. These Panchakoshas, through this understanding, how to discard, that will be told. But that whole exercise is valid or meaningful only when we understand Brahman perfectly. So too, when that Panchakoshas are understood and discarded, where we have to reach after discarding them, the Brahman, what are the lakshanas of that Brahman? At that time also we must know what it is. पंचकोश विवेक करने के पहले क्यों करना है वो जानने के लिए भी वी हैव टू नो वेरी क्लियरली ब्रह्मन. पंच विवेक करने के बाद विवेक पंचकोश को निकालने के बाद did we remove it or not and have we reached or not the goal after eliminating a panchakosha? For that also the insurance is only these words of Brahman. Therefore, Satyam Jnanam Anantam is the Lakshana Brahma. And what is the meaning of Satyam Jnanam Anantam? Intellectually to apprehend is so essential. Both before to reject the Panchakoshas by saying Anatma, later on, after Panchakosha is rejected, to experience the Supreme also, these are required. Clear? Now, Yada Loke Neelam Mahat Sugandhi Utpalamiti. Now, so ये कहा, this we saw today, हो गया. नो यस्मात् लक्षण विशेष प्रधान विवेकपूर्ण लक्षण लक्ष्य हो, ये भी हमने देखा है. Therefore, लक्षणार्थम च वाक्यमित्यवोचामः. Up to this we saw. Then this next topic also touched about कि सत्यादि शब्दाः न परस्परम संबध्यन्ते. They don't have the paraspara sambandha satyadi shabdaha. Like a job is there, interview is going on. So the 10 youngsters sitting outside, each of them are having sambandha with the job and with those people who are interviewing directly. Do they have mutually any of the relation? They don't have. वो लोग ऐसे बैठते हैं बस. They may talk this and that, all that, but they don't have any relation mutually. But each one of them are related to the Brahman or the interview there. Here also, Satyam, पहले ही बता रहे, ऐसा मिक्सअप मत करना, सत्य ज्ञान अनंत शब्दों के पीछे मत पड़ना. द मेन थिंग व्हाट यू हैव टू डू इज डायरेक्टली रिलेट ईच वर्ड टू द ब्रह्मन हिमसेल्फ. सत्यादि शब्द न परस्परम संबंध्यन्ते परार्थत्वात्, because each of them are meant for something. We have seen yesterday, satyam is not for jnanam, jnanam is not for anantam, anantam is not for satyam, but each of them are indicating the fourth thing called as brahman, fourth word, परार्थत्वात्. अतः एकैकः विशेषणशब्दः परस्परं निरपेक्षः ब्रह्मशब्देन सम्बध्यते. Therefore, each shabda, without the requirement of the other two shabda, is directly in relation with the Brahma Vastu. Be clear about it. Just because it is said in one flow, don't get confused about these three gunas with the Brahman as if those three gunas have some mutual relation. They don't have. Then how actually the sentence has to be studied? Ki Satyam Brahma, Jnanam Brahma, Anantam Brahma. It should be understood like this. See how much struggle our Shankara Bhagavan is going on to lift our understanding to the correct understanding, protecting us from wrong or misunderstanding or even non-understanding. Okay? So Satyam Brahma, Jnanam Brahma, Anantam Brahma is the main meaning of Satyam, Jnanam, Anantam Brahma. In that each word is connected to the Brahman, they are not mutually connected to each other. But later on, while discovering Brahma, when one Lakshana is used, okay, and having reached it, the insurance is done whether we reach Brahman or not by confirming whether the other two things fulfill in it or not. If the other two are not fulfilled, then we are not reached Brahman. And only these three guna yukta is Brahman. No fourth guna. Clear? And these three gunas only belong to Brahman. And nothing other than Brahman in this world has got these three things. Nothing. Satyam, nothing. Jnanam, nothing. Anantam. Brahman alone is Satyam, Jnana, Anantam. And Brahman is only Satyam, Jnana, Anantam, nothing other. And these are all intellectual thinkings. When they come very subtler, when they become, then we sit for dhyanam to experience it. Really, when the anubhava comes, so it's so different, so beautiful. Now, one by word, satyam iti yad rupena yat nishchitam tat rupam na vyavicharati tat satyam yad rupena nishchitam yat tad rupam vyavicharat tanrutam iti uchyate अतः विकारः अनृतं वाचारम्भणं विकारः नामधेयं मृतिकेत्येव सत्यम. Very trickish, beautiful explanation this is. एवं सदेव सत्यम इति अवधारणातु अतः सत्यम ब्रह्म इति ब्रह्म विकारात् निवर्तयति. अतः कारणत्वं प्राप्तं ब्रह्मणः कारणस्य च कारकत्वं वस्तुत्वात् मृद्वत् अचिद्रूपता च प्राप्ता. अतः इदम् उच्यते ज्ञानं ब्रह्म इति ज्ञानं ज्ञप्तिः अवबोधः भावसाधनः ज्ञानशब्दः न तु ज्ञानकर्तृ ब्रह्म विशेषणत्वात् सत्य अनन्ताभ्यां सह न हि सत्यता अनन्ताच्च ज्ञानकर्तृत्वे सति उपपद्यते. ज्ञानकर्तृत्वेन हि विक्रियमाणं कथं सत्यं भवेत् अनन्तं च यदि न कुतश्चित् प्रविभज्यते यदि तद् अनन्तं ज्ञानकर्तृत्वे च ज्ञेयज्ञानाभ्यां प्रविभक्तम् इति अनन्तता च स्यात्. यत्र न अन्यद्विजानाति स भूमा अत यत्र अन्यद्विजानाति तत्त्वात्मम् इति श्रुत्यन्तरात्. See, when highly qualified doctors, PhD level engineers, high level economists or the politicians or even the army wale, जब बात करते ना, it what a highest language, highest theme they take up. They're not worried. A politician, if the highest level, then only one municipal ward, he is not worried. पूरा देश का सोचता है. So to a army chief. It doesn't think one small little place, the entire country in all its borders, so to internal, the security and protection. High. So to these are the deep thinkings of the Advaita Vedanta. Crux. Studying this is scholarly study. And if we can make these things clear in our understanding, we really have taken good giant leap in our spiritual understanding, not sadhana. साधना विल स्टार्ट फ्रॉम वेयर वी आर. जब तक कर्मयोग नहीं करेंगे, जब तक विवेक वैराग्य नहीं करेंगे, जब तक यमन यम नहीं करेंगे, all sadhana siddhi are only meaningless things, only words. We are only doing intellectual jugglery. These intellectual jugglery should inspire us to take up sadhana. When we do sadhana, it starts from where we are. If I am caught up in an Annamaya kosha, unless I conquer Annamaya, I can't go to Prana and Mano and all. रिमेम्बर ये है सिद्धांत ज्ञान हमको सिर्फ रोड मैप लक्ष्य बताकर इंस्पिरेशन देता है. जर्नी तो हमको जहाँ है वहीं से ही करना है. देयर इज नो अल्टरनेटिव. सडनली नथिंग हैपेंस. You understood? If I am filled with rajas and tamas and I want to come to Ekagra Bhumi, you will never come. Without Ekagra Bhumi, all that vritti nirodha leading to asampragnata and all, ये होगा ही नहीं कभी. Take it for granted. Without theory, nothing can be done. Only theory has never helped anyone. And there is no comparison of me with others. Theoretically, everybody should get same knowledge. Practically, everyone's sadhana depends on where he is standing. And everyone's position depends on what I was going on doing from many earlier lives. You and I were doing from many earlier lives, the listening to the Shastra Upanishad, not understood fully. Therefore, in this life, little more push is given by these classes. To the extent possible, we discover it. कमी पेशी है अगले जन्म में पूर्ति होगा. This is knowledge, sadhana also. Many people do sadhana, but they don't know it is sadhana. You know, all उपवास कर रहे हैं, दीक्षाएं कर रहे हैं लोग. They don't know the laksha and marga, but they are doing sadhana only. To them only you have to say what you are doing upavasa, by which you have conquered your Annamaya Kosha, now become Sakshi to that, you are Brahman. हो गया उनको. And many of us are know the theory but never do sadhana. And the whole worldly people neither know the sadhana nor they do it. They are only world. For them, sadhya is sukha bhoga, avara, and the sadhana also is karma upasana. Clear? And the highest matured person is who is very clear in understanding and doing also according to understanding sadhana. That is what our goal. हमें गल बात समझना भी है, हमको करना भी है. बिना करो तो फल नहीं है, बिना समझो तो कर नहीं सकते. क्लास में समझाया जाता है, दिन भर करना पड़ता है. इन द क्लास द थियरी इज टॉट. Tomorrow we'll see how Brahman is Satyam Jnanam. And of the class, you have to do your own Mananam Chintanam Dhyanam. When we master Mananam Chintanam Dhyanam through Ekagra Bhumi, in the class only when the teacher is teaching, we can do at that time only Mananam Chintanam and experience. Even higher than that is just presence of Guru, the disciple is there. Guru silently spoke, disciples, all doubts gone, he got the experience. है ना. शिष्य आए बैठे, गुरु महाराज ऐसे शांति में बैठा, शिष्य उठे चले गए. Only the Guru Shishya know. He taught without teaching, they learned without listening, and their all doubts got dispelled. Gurostu maunam vyakhyanam shishyahato chinna samshaya. They're all samshaya chedan ho gaya. Chidyante sarva samshaya means parapara prapti only, no? Tasmin dushte paravare. So that was the highest communication between Dakshinamurti and the other rishis. They were not even requiring the words and meaning of the words and the contemplation on them. That all is required only when we are identified the upadhis and therefore lost in the world. Those who are not lost in the world and not identified the upadhi, उनको इतने शब्दों की जरूरत नहीं है, वो प्रेजेंस में हो जाता है बस. It's a very interesting thing. That's very sublime, cannot be explained to you in the words. But that is a state also. But before that, we have to come to level of Saidhantika Vishaya Avagahana understanding. Then practically also, without comparing with others, we do what we deserve to. And maybe all that way, thoroughly understand this portion of Satyam Jnanantam Brahma with Bhagavan Adi Shankara's explanation without even a little doubt. And definitely it will happen. And all God's Gurus are with us. Thank you. Om, 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 Om. Om 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 Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavashishyate Om Shanti 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 Sri Guru Namaha Paramanashibhyo Namaha Parabrahmane Namaha Shruti Matre Namaha Veda Vyasa Samasta Taittiriya Upanishad Acharyebhyo Namaha Asmadgurubhyo Namaha Tatsat Brahmarpanastu. Stay for our other text, Yoga Darshan.